Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and welcome to Sentai Potential, the series where I take a look at seasons of Super Sentai and analyze their visuals and storytelling in a different way through the lens of adapting them as a season of Power Rangers. Today, I'm taking a look at Avataro Sentai Donbrothers, easily one of the wackiest seasons in the Super Sentai franchise, which means it presents a lot of unique storytelling and design concepts. Be sure to check out my review of the show as well if you're interested in my full thoughts on that season. I think what's great about the Donbrothers suits is that they're incredibly unique Sentai suits, but also pretty standard ones at the same time. Ignoring certain proportional differences, I genuinely think that the Donbrothers look like a normal team of Rangers. The suits maintain the same black sunglasses as visors, shoulder pads, black striping lower halves, etc. So you can easily tell they're one unified team, and they fit in pretty well with other teams. But then they've each got these little added elements, stuff like Momotaro's unique headband, Oni's extra horns and spikes, or Saru's furry getup and abs, that do so much to give everyone their own unique suit personality, yet they don't break the mold of the team too much. I think it's neat how each ranger has a totally different silhouette from the other, but they still manage to look like they're on the same team. It's a neat way to differentiate the characters beyond just helmets and suit patterns without going super over the top, and I kind of hope this becomes a bit more standard. The 6th and Rival Rangers continue this idea in different ways, as they should. Don Murasame is pretty much just a repaint of Don Momotaro, so there's not really an issue with him matching the others. But of course, he's got his own unique flair with different armor and unique visor coloring, since he's intended to be a rival separate from the team. At first, I thought Don Doragoku and Don Tornabolt were pretty different from the main team, since they don't really share any parts, recolored or not. But then while making this video, I realized that they have the same color philosophy. It's just for the 6 Rangers, it's inverted, so the black pieces are now the armor, and now the actual colored spandex is the lower leg part, even with the black pieces forming the same skirt design bit thing. Oh, and of course, their helmets still have sunglasses, which is the motif of the whole show, so it does an excellent job at subtly tying all these suits together. Another cool thing is that these motifs for the Donbrothers are not shared with the other Rangers in the show, the Noto. They have a completely different design philosophy amongst themselves. They've got these pronounced chest plates and these metallic face armor in the same kind of armored undersuit, but while the chest pieces have similar shapes, they've got radically different designs in comparison to each other, along with the helmets being completely different other than the fact they share some eyes. And these factors don't really make the Noto look like a Sentai, but because they all share the same undersuits in different colors, they give off the vibe of a Sentai. If it's a Sentai and you've got 6 different people that are recolors of each other, they're basically a Sentai. So they perfectly capture the aesthetic of being Rangers that aren't actually Rangers, so that's absolutely perfect. And once again, I think it's cool they don't share any similarities to the heroes, even though they're both Sentai, especially because of the CG friends. From a design perspective, I don't really mind them. Once again, they maintain the same design aspects as the Donbrothers. It's just that one is tall and the other is small, and creative liberties needed to be taken in order to have them exist on screen. But there is no denying that the CG is rough, and because of that, I do wish we got maybe a normal ranger on stilts or a child in a ranger suit or something like that. I also think that it affects the show's opportunities for adaptation as well in more ways than one. For starters, CG Rangers are weird. It doesn't fit in with Sentai that well, so it's not going to fit in with Power Rangers either. If anything, it would be harder for Americans to work with, because I doubt the models from Japan can be copied over and reused in original footage, so they'll have to make original models. Then at that point, maybe you just make original suits, but then you have to scrap all of the footage with the CG Rangers. The other problem the CG Rangers present actually applies to the aesthetics in their entirety, which is why they're a dog and a bird. The Legend of Momotaro. Now, in the context of Donbrothers, I do love this. I think it's neat that this team has the Red Ranger be a samurai of sorts, and the Yellow Ranger is kind of this monstrous thing, and then the other 3 fits of the team are random animals, yet they're all linked together because of one Japanese folktale. So the problem is that I don't know if they will straight up use this folktale as the basis of the Power Rangers season. I don't really see any other logical explanation to give for why the Red Ranger has a big peach on his head, or why the team symbol is a peach, or why the final attacks have peaches. They could ignore it like they've done in the past, but we've also seen how that's worked, or rather hasn't worked, so I think as long as there's some kind of explanation for the Japanese motifs, it would be fine. Because the same thing applies to the robots. Don Robotaro is very clearly some kind of Japanese warrior, as is Don Oni Taijin. But like, these designs are awesome. Like the suits, they have these different motifs, but still manage to look like they're on the same team, but their usage in the show is what really sells them, in my opinion. Turning the robots into basically a team power-up is a fantastic idea and creates some amazing unique fight scenes, especially once they combine. Not only does Don Oni Taijin look amazing, but he and Toradora Gonjin also have a few fights together on the ground. So these would be really unique additions to the Power Rangers franchise in terms of designs and fight scenes, and they'd be a cool set of toys to sell since they sold really well in Japan after all. I just think it would be a waste to not take advantage of these awesome Robotaro concepts that Donbrothers came up with. However, I do think the aesthetics overall would also be pretty impressive to bring into Power Rangers. It's just you would kind of need to figure out a respectful explanation for some of these motifs, because I don't think anyone wants to see them be plain ignored, because that would be really weird. I know Donbrothers was regarded as one of the wackiest seasons of Sentai, but let's just ignore that. For this part, let's, they can work with it. It's fine. Because I think the source footage could be really interesting to use for the season, since a lot of them are based on previous Power Ranger seasons, and it would be fun to address that, much like how I came up with in zenkaiger, or you could just straight ignore it since Donbrothers itself didn't really pay too much attention to that. However, what I want to do is take some of those early rumors and speculation of Donbrothers as the basis of my adaptation, so that this is more of a direct sequel to zenkaiger, or rather the zenkaiger adaptation. But for those who don't know what those original rumors were for Donbrothers, it was that Stay Caesar himself was Don Momotaro. So let's do that. After the events of zenkaiger, Stacy decides to travel the multiverse on his own to try and discover his place in the universe or whatever, since in my version of zenkaiger he was made by the Tochi Tendo, so he doesn't really know where he belongs. Along the way, he makes some new friends, which would end up being a monkey person, a dog person, and a bird person. When Stacy decides to introduce his new friends to the Zenkaigers, he finds that his old world is a bit different. People are turning into monsters, and fighting to defeat them are these mysterious new warriors and a Yellow Ranger, who after de-transforming reveals herself to be Flint Goldtweaker. She explains that after Stacy left the Zenkaiger dimension, it became overrun with these human entities, and these other warriors arrive to fight them, but are also killing people in the process. So Flint created this new Sentai gear technology that's better equipped to fight the monsters and save the people. And then you can throw in a line that it's all based on the Japanese Momotaro folktale, because in that story they fight demons, and these are like Japanese looking demons or something like that. Using these, Flint, Stacy, and their new multiversal friends become the Donbrothers to fill the void left by the missing Zenkaigers. After the demons appeared, they got in a fight with the Zenkaigers and defeated them, causing them to mysteriously vanish along with their Sentai gears. Now, when demons are defeated, they drop Sentai gears, which Flint uses to integrate into the technology. Because of this, the first mecha that the Donbrothers get is Don Oni Taijin, and all the power-ups and stuff are designed by Flint. Now with the mysterious warriors, there's actually gonna be 6 of these. They seek to liberate this world from demonic threats, but don't report to any higher powers other than their leaders, who remain transformed all the time. The 3-way conflict makes up most of the show, with the Don Momotaro Sonoi rivalry remaining consistent, but we also have the Oni sister and Sonoza rivalry taking up center stage as well. When the Jutos start appearing, they act more like super-powered Hitotsuki, because the idea is that they're people with so much inherent hatred that when the demonic powers befall them, it merely gives them monster forms rather than corrupting them. This will kinda be a thing happening in the background for a good bit of the show though, as people begin to realize they can control these powers and find out there are others like them, and then start to round up Hitotsuki until they basically become the generals of a faction. Investigating and fighting them in the background at this point is the mysterious Zenkaiger Black. After discovering him, everyone thinks it's Kaito somehow after the Zenkaigers were defeated, but it's actually a new person that they can't recognize. No wait, this guy has two personalities. Well, actually, it's Riki and Katanar. Somehow they combined into one being in the demonic struggle that kidnapped the others, lost their memories, and just turned into Zenkaiger Black for some reason. After being defeated by the Juto, they are reunited with their sister, and she creates two new forms for them, in addition to a mecha that combines them. Learning about the Juto at this point prompts Flint to create a weapon to use against them, since they're resistant to normal Donbrothers technology, but that much power required artificial intelligence to work properly, resulting in Don Murasame becoming alive and going rogue. So now you're probably wondering, where did the Zenkaigers go? Well, remember how I said the Noto leaders keep themselves masked? That's because one of them is Kaito and the other one is Zox. And then the other four are the Kikinoids in human bodies. So they've been interacting with the Donbrothers throughout most of the show, but they had no idea they were interacting with the Zenkaigers, because for some of them, they've just never met the Zenkaigers, and they're also just completely disguised unknowingly in human bodies. When the Zenkaigers were defeated in their fight against the initial Hitosuki forces, the demon entity attempted to assimilate them into its consciousness, but because the Zenkaigers are super good guys, they were able to resist and got turned into these hybrid demon entities instead. Their Sentai gears were absorbed into the demon entity, and that's why they've been fusing with humans to turn them into Hitosuki. Since our Donbrothers have become friends with the unmasked Noto now, they wish to save them and learn about their real selves, while Stacy and Flint of course want to save their friends. Prioritizing this allows the Juto to grow in strength without any resistance, and since Murasame is wild and untamed, they amass an army. I kind of want the show to have like this theme where like the characters are always distracted or selfish, and it just causes things to happen. Like it'll be revealed that the Zenkaigers were so distracted meeting teams of Power Rangers in their season that they didn't realize that they were releasing an even greater threat by changing part of the multiverse and timelines, eventually allowing the demon threat to take over their universe once they defeated the Toji Tendo once and for all. Stacy left his home dimension because he wanted to see if he could find something better. Don Murasame's initial anti-hero nature was because he wasn't created with the proper care, and the Donbrothers were so distracted by trying to find their friends that Zenkaiger Black got defeated, and the Juto were able to gain power until this world was almost destroyed. And along the way, perhaps the Donbrothers are all like distracted, just trying to explore this new dimension that they found themselves in, and it causes mishaps to happen. In the finale of the show, the Juto will take all of the Sentai gears from the Donbrothers to create the ultimate Hitosuki, Kikaiki. The Donbrothers decide to make their last stand against the Noto to bring back their Zenkaiger memories and return them to normal, believing that once they do, this whole united team of gear warriors will be able to defeat the Juto. The Zenkaigers return to normal, and the whole team unites in order to defeat Kikaiki and save the multiverse once again. And to do this, I'd like to use the final battle from Donbrothers versus Zenkaiger, throw Kashiwamochi in there as like a random monster that the Kikaiki monster has summoned. Stacyger can be Don Murasame doing an avatar change, since now he's Don Momotaro, and Hakaiser could just be a summon, or Flint made a new one, I guess, using the armor of the Noto, or perhaps he was being developed in the background of the season and only now was he fully completed and he helps in the final battle. I just think it would be fun to see a version of the show that played into the sequel elements a bit more, to the point where the finale is literally the crossover. In case you missed Writer Potential Revice, I'm no longer doing a toy segment at the end. Hasbro doesn't seem to care about making the toys for Power Rangers, so it feels weird to speculate what they would make. So I'm not doing it anymore. I also want to address, I know there's been a lot of talk recently about Power Rangers not doing normal adaptations anymore, especially because Cosmic Fury is not doing a normal adaptation. I just want to say that, like, these videos will keep happening despite that. I even do Rider Potential, and there's no way we're getting a Kamen Rider adaptation anytime soon. I just find this as a bit of a fun way to discuss the Sentai or original Rider show with a different focus of, like, what would an adaptation look like? But it's never really, like, meant to be realistic. It's just kind of a fun, let's talk about the show. I hope that's okay. So yeah, Sentai Potential isn't going anywhere. So be sure to make sure you comment your own Donbrothers thoughts, whether they're aesthetics or how you would adapt the story. Don't forget to subscribe for more Super Sentai content, or check out my Patreon to see any of my videos early, and I hope to see you next time.